The Subaru Crosstrek. If you're thinking we've already done a video on this, you'd be right, except we have not covered the Wilderness trim level, nor have we driven the 2.4 liter, the larger engine. That's one of the complaints we had. The 2 liter felt weak in here. So the Wilderness is something they're plastering across most of their models, and it adds more off-roadiness. And to be fair, they've done quite a bit, other than just adding plastic cladding on the side, which does not look pretty, I'll be honest, but it is functional. If you're in some trails or some tree line where it's scraping the side of the car, it's going to be way cheaper to replace that black plastic by pulling it off the clips and putting a new piece on without having to repaint it. This also gives you 9.3 inches of ground clearance, which is more than most SUVs, twice its size. So they do a good job of giving you that. They've retuned the suspension to give you more compression and rebound here, so it is a more softer riding car, but again, with the more ground clearance, you're gonna use this on trails and some off-road stuff, which we'll talk about in the drive. So yes, you know what it looks like. The inside is the same thing we've seen on all the Crosstreks. It is a mix between durability and ruggedness. There's a lot of hard plastics in here, but that also makes it very easy to clean up, which is why it's very popular for the outdoorsy types and those that have a lot of pets. It's way easier to clean off these surfaces with a wet towel or a rag. It's going to be easy to take care of, although not the prettiest thing. And I've talked about this, the big negative part, aside from, you know, some of those plastics, is the tech is not well implemented. This is not something this brand is particularly good at. They're just putting it here because they needed to for marketing reasons. The infotainment is an absolute... It's horrible. It would almost be better if they just went back to physical controls and made a small screen, kind of like what Honda does. Their infotainment's not good, but at least they put it in the background. This, they threw it in your face. It's laggy, it's slow, it's difficult to use, and it's absolutely the worst part about this car, other than everything else being very functional. Great space, great hatch room, stuff we've already talked about. But let's take this for a drive, and we're going to talk about what it does and it doesn't do.
Get a performance start in the Subaru Wilderness. Big boy engine. Ah! My neck! 184 horsepower. Wilderness trim. That noise.
The wind starts to howl loud for the moon.
Let's test these brakes.
Oh! Yeah, I thought you're gonna get shot down by the Patriot missiles defense system going hypersonic like that, Jack.
All right. What do you think about this bad boy?
Well, we talked about the Crosstrek, I don't know, 10 times already, and one of the reasons why I want to revisit this is obviously we finally got the one with the bigger engine, which solves some of the problem of the 2 liter. And then, of course, the Wilderness trim level that they're putting out there to bridge the gap between a wagon and a full-blown, like, SUV off-roader thing. And Subaru is, let's be honest about it, this is the best thing that they do. They do the off-road thing without having this enormous vehicle at a price point that is good, that still actually has a good all-wheel drive system that can do most everything in the... Will you shut your phone up?
Nah, I gotta get all my messages. It's my important business meetings.
Now you've been called by Toyota. What do they want? Doesn't she know that you're in a Subaru?
A Subaru? No, don't worry.
She's
about
like,
it. Oh, let me give you a RAV4 instead. It's cheaper.
So anyway, so the difference between these trim levels is there's more ground clearance. This feels softer.
Yes.
It's more boat-like, but it also gives you the ability to do more trails, off-road stuff. There's more articulation in the suspension. Honestly, like, I've been off-road with these things with our previous rep, and I talked to her about her endlessly. If you take it slow and easy, you can pretty much do most of the things that the SUV competition can do within reason.
If you're going camping or you're going basic off-roading,
yeah.
This
will do some rock stuff too. I've been on rocks. I've been on like crazy divots and things that you wouldn't ever do with this thing. You can, and I think that's what's cool about it. It is not pretending to be anything that it's not. We say that in every video. Yes, it is not the highest end, not the most pretty interior space, but it's super durable and rugged. There's no bullshit here aside from the horrible infotainment screen, which I talked about already. The CVT isn't even a horrible thing, and I hate to say that, but
It rides well.
Yeah.
There's some whimsy to the way this thing handles.
yeah, and because of the all-wheel drive system, the back is live.
Yeah.
You know, it is more alive than like a front-wheel drive on-demand system. So they have it set up really well. It is good to drive for the price, and I think that's the takeaway, right? If you're getting this for a reasonable price, under like around $30,000, you're not going to lose your ass in depreciation. It shouldn't break. Everything's pretty easy to service and fix on here, and that's why you would buy this over like the 25 other CUVs.
Yeah, no, I think I'm hard on Subaru.
Yeah.
If you've watched this channel for a long time, I have my problems with their products, and my problems with them are they're higher end performance vehicles.
Yeah.
I don't think they do them that well. But they're commodity cars, the Outbacks, the Foresters, the Crosstreks. I think these things are great. They ride well, they're good to be in, they're simplistic, they're largely gimmickless minus the giant screen. I see why people buy these things in droves, and unlike the American small CUVs, I think there's something different about the Subarus with their all-wheel driveness and just the way they're put together.
They have an
the way
identity.
They feel. Yes.
They have their own identity that nobody else has, and they're not fake about it. Like, they know exactly who their customers.
They don't pretend to be premium.
No, they don't try to pretend to do anything that they're not good at, aside from the tech part, right? I mean, you could argue exterior styling on this clearly is a low point. I mean, with the Wilderness thing, it looks...
Dude, the gold makes me feel like I'm buying my gold bars.
Yeah, you're not buying a Subaru for, you know, rolling around trying to impress people with the most modern styling.
Well, certain demographics very impressed
well,
by
yeah,
this.
that's true. You get your 3 Stanley Cups in here, and you're rolling gold with your five dogs
I'm wearing
in the
my
back.
Patagonia, man. I'm
That's
good to go.
True. That's true. But see, buying this, you still have money for real world stuff. You're not pissing
my
away
Patagonia.
all your... Yeah. I like the fact that it's not hyper expensive, because if we're talking $45,000 for this, we'd be having a completely different discussion. And I say that a lot. Like, the price point really dictates how much leeway you give a car, you know, and they've given you pretty much everything you want here for a cost that's not going to destroy your family, and you're not going to lose your ass on owning this.
We have this at the same time as the Dodge Hornet. I can't remember the last time we had the...
And the Trailblazer. We just had the Trailblazer.
And I would take this every single time, because it's just... I know I get into it. I don't have to deal with anything.
Yeah.
It's probably going to work a long time.
Right.
Probably. It's just an easy car to live with, and it rides great. The seats are good. It's a very simple appliance you get into. When there's bad weather, it's decent. It's easy to see out of. You know it's probably going to be safe if you put kids in this thing. It's a good car. So, Mark, with that, let's head into the final thoughts, and hopefully I don't have to drive another Crosstrek again anytime soon.
Thanks for taking a journey into the wilderness with us. As you can see, this Crosstrek checks all the boxes for someone that wants almost full-level SUV performance and more of a wagon proportion. You don't have a ton of space in your garage or don't need a monster vehicle. You still need the visibility, some of the old-school charm of it. That's what the Crosstrek does for a price that's not going to bankrupt you long-term. The fact that this is probably going to stick with your family and your pets, that they know exactly who this is for, and what it's a what you see, what you get car, and that's what I really appreciate about it. Is it got everything sorted out? Is it the most quiet vehicle? Is it the most refined drivetrain? Is it pretty to look at? Not really. That's something that Subaru has not done very well, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter, because every other vehicle is doing those things, and there's about 25 other options if you want that. This is just a really nice driving car. It's a breath of fresh air in a market that's flooded with vehicles that are trying to be better than what they are. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next video.